Welcome back to The Short Coat, coming to you from the amazing and intense world of medical school at the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine. I'm Dave Etler. We're here today on this very show to talk about how to take negative feedback like a big kid. To help me do that, I'm here in the studio with M2 J Miller.
Hello.
M2 Srishti Mathur is here.
Hello, hello.
Zach Grissom has claimed a mic, also
Hey.
an M2. And M2 Sahana Sarin is back.
Hello, hello, hello. I was really hoping he would do that. I was really hoping he would do that.
I don't know what happened.
God, we set you up so well.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Sahana.
You did it.
Did you do
Whatever
3 or
it
4?
was.
3.
Okay.
So you guys, med school represents an opportunity, shall we say, to get a ton of feedback on all kinds of things. Sometimes it's written, and you're all getting more feedback shared with you verbally, right? Especially in clinics, like all the time, people are, talking to you about your performance and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's even non-verbally, I imagine. Eye rolls, impressed smiles, maybe, grades. But taking feedback is a skill, and some people haven't learned it. And so I wanted to start off by playing this that I got from Rachel Shalista in our admissions department. Here we go.
So for context, we as an admission staff offer the option for applicants who were not offered admission to schedule an appointment, totally voluntary, to receive feedback from the admissions committee for how they can improve their application in a future cycle. And we take a lot of time to prepare for these appointments and to compile feedback and give really detailed advice to applicants. And one particular example, I had spent time preparing for the appointment. This particular individual at the end of that said to me, I simply don't agree with any of that. And it left me a little bit speechless, and I wasn't really sure how to react to that, because we try to do this as a service and to help applicants. And when feedback is not really well received, that doesn't always bode well. If applicants are combative or rude when receiving this feedback, we're not providing feedback to hurt them. Feedback is to help people, and feedback doesn't stop when they get into medical school or even beyond in this profession. If you struggle with receiving feedback appropriately now, things will continue to be hard later, and that's just the hard truth of it, because feedback is meant to help you be better. It is not to tear you down. It is to help you know what you can do to improve, to continue to build yourself to be better in the future. So it's a little disheartening when it's not received well or it's met with some hostility.
So yeah, feedback is a skill. I think it's it's learned. I know that sometimes you guys haven't progressed to the clinical years yet, but you've had some feedback opportunities from standardized patients, your course, your grades that you get. I'm sure there. What other sort of feedback do you get in this sort of didactic phase?
Yeah, like our CBL facilitators are supposed to provide like verbal feedback and then also written comments. And there's, individual variety in the value or how they present those, or like what they're looking for, some too.
Yeah,
So.
we also have like those, like not only the SPs, but we had at least like the past 2 semesters, like PCS. What does that stand for?
Professional communication skills.
Sure. And those facilitators.
Why learn? You don't need to learn what the evaluation, what the acronym means.
The acronyms take on their own meaning.
Yeah.
Professional communication skills does not have a meaning. PCS triggers my fight or flight.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. But yeah, they would also like give us feedback on like our clinical skills and how we would interview and stuff like that.
And don't forget anatomy. We evaluated peers
Oh,
Sure.
for our teaching style.
I forgot to pull those back up and look at them again for this.
That's probably the most negative feedback I've received.
Oh.
But it's just a chance to like critique not really critique, but just say like what helps other students with their learning since you're teaching each other. So that one was a good one. Definitely have to take feedback from your own peers.
Yeah, and this, all of what you're saying, it just continues throughout your, not just medical school, not just residency, but really your whole, I mean, think about things like, you guys know what a tumor board is?
I've heard of this before.
I should have looked, this just occurred to me, so I probably should have looked it up in advance. But there are occasions when a group of people get together to discuss what went wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, like
We
an
do that with
M&M
M&Ms.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mortality and morbidity.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't know if it, maybe tumor board is probably a less,
I don't
maybe
love
an informal
I
thing.
mean, M&M fully thought of the candy right off the bat.
That's
Not the rapper.
fair.
No.
I will say, I think tumor boards is like when they have a patient case that's difficult, and then they all come together to figure out how to.
Okay.
Which some of that is
Yeah.
probably going to be like, what has gone wrong and why has
Yeah.
this not, what did you not figure out earlier? What you could have done better.
Right. And as the physician of record, who's participating in this, you're going to get some feedback that might be uncomfortable at times. I'm not going to name names, but here's an interesting bit of feedback that I've heard of. There is a cancer doc here who offers his patients one free punch.
Did they get good feedback or bad feedback for that?
I think
that is the feedback.
I think that's the feedback.
Oh,
I think the
understood.
idea is like, as a cancer patient, there are going to be times when you are super frustrated. So I think people have taken
Oh. But what if they punch really hard?
I mean,
That's
the risk.
Why not? Why not like a punching bag or something?
That's the risk of feedback.
Sometimes
allowing-
feedback
Being
hurts.
hurt.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should hurt physically.
Well,
Hey.
That is a form of feedback.
Okay.
that's up to this guy. So yeah, is the feedback that you've gotten in medical school so far different from what you experienced before you got here?
I'm going to be honest. I think it's been better. I feel like a lot of times in undergrad, and that's just the nature of medicine, is that it's so hyper competitive, but it felt like a lot of times the feedback I received in undergrad and leading up to med school, maybe it was my own ego, but it felt like it was like pushing me down.
Oh,
Whereas coming to med school, all the feedback I've gotten has been, again, maybe I've just grown more, but it's been with the intention of building me up.
So
At
can you
least
give me
that's
an
what I think.
can you give me an example that you recall? It's okay if you can't recall. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if I can think of any specifics, but I would in undergrad, I would go and see like a pre-med advisor, and they'd basically give me the feedback that like I'm never gonna go into medicine or get
yeah,
into
I've
medicine.
heard that a lot before.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
and-
I don't know why any advisor would
Yeah.
give that feedback.
Yeah. And like I understand
I guess they're trying to like
Right.
soft,
Realistic.
like be realistic. but-
expectations. Yeah.
Of like if you don't get in, don't be hurt by it.
But the
Yeah.
number of times I've heard that that somebody got that feedback from a pre-med advisor and yet they're sitting in front of me here on this show is like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's like just not phrased right to be trying to be like an honest assessment of your chances or your competitiveness for different programs or something, or they're maybe just mad that they never did it themselves and
Right.
that's what they're working in as
Yeah.
a pre-med advisor.
Hard to
like,
say,
I'm
right?
not saying that that's something that many or most even, but that's possibility for people.
Yeah. But I always felt like ever since I've come to med school, again, maybe I'm just happier. But I feel like the feedback I get in med school has a clear intention of making me a better person.
Okay, that's good. You guys agree?
Yeah, I think the feedback in medicine has definitely been more productive. It's nicer, it's more positive, and even if it's something negative, it has like a positive tone to it because it makes you not so scared of receiving feedback. I'm assuming they put a lot of work into teaching the individuals how to give us feedback because they also teach us how to give feedback to like professors and stuff. So like they teach us they teach them how to give us feedback, and so it's not in a mean way, so we're not scared of
Yeah.
receiving it. So even if it's something that we need to work on, it's not like kind of hurt my feelings.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. You guys give feedback to your
Mhm.
professors,
Mhm.
which I don't know how usual that is. I've only ever worked here, but I don't know if that's an uncommon thing. But it also, it also takes skill to deliver feedback. And so I know that there has been a push in the last few years to improve upon both the skills that you guys have in giving feedback and the skills that everybody else has in giving you feedback, which I think is paying off. Not that it was terrible before, but yeah, there were occasions where students would, go to those, we used to have physical comment books, right? So students would write, pretty harsh things in there. And, somebody had to spend a certain amount of time, like, turning that around into something that can be used.
Yeah. Who else done a liaison committee here?
I have.
Yeah. And then I have, so like we go through not the individual like lecture feedback, but the overall course feedback. They have us go through and kind of compile a report out of that. And there was just so many free text ones that we got in the spreadsheet for the course that I did, and then kind of going through and trying to decide what's the topic, how can I distill this and group it with other ones. And some of them are just like, I preferred ones that were just like it good and be done, and then I can just be like, okay, it's positive. then instead of ones that
I don't know
were
how
like
helpful that is.
right, it's not. But compared to ones that were like long and rambling and not specific, and then you're trying to find what was the thing that they had
Yeah,
an
what's
issue
the
with.
kernel here? What's the message
Yeah.
that they're really trying to get across?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that also speaks to the sort of power dynamics of well, I don't know if that speaks to it, but I wanted to bring okay, let me try that again. Yeah, there's a power dynamic issue with feedback too, right? Like sometimes it's hard to give feedback to people that you know well. Sometimes it's hard to give feedback in person to somebody that is higher than you on some sort of level. It's hard. It must be hard to give feedback to peers, as you mentioned for anatomy. Does that ring a bell for you?
Yeah.
Or do you just like, fuck it, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean it is anonymous.
Okay,
So,
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really know exactly who says what. You just get like a pool of comments, and like you take those comments with your own grain of salt, and then you adjust yourself based on those comments, I guess.
Yeah.
In my anatomy group, we all pretty much ended up figuring out who said what. And like I had given real feedback. Like I was like, we need to participate more, like the teaching, like we need to focus more, et cetera, et cetera. And it actually brought me closer to some of the people.
Oh,
Because like I give constructive criticism. Like if you ask me something, I'll tell you. Like I'm not going to hold back, because I think we're at a stage in our lives where we should be mature enough to be able to like take that criticism and be like, this person is trying to help me.
Yeah.
And so I straight up told them, I was like, this is like what we need to do better. And like, it wasn't like this is directed at you, but it was like, this is also my time and I wish we were spending it focusing on the thing we're doing instead of like thinking about another class.
Yeah.
And like, I told them I said that. And I was like, I said it to whichever ones. And after that, they were like, no, honestly, like, that's
I
fine.
was like, yeah, I said it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I said it. And like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if you guys told me what I should improve on, I would take it too. I'd be like, absolutely. Like, I'm not perfect. That's what we're here for.
And I think that makes sense, because think about the stakes here.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're not just doing this for a grade anymore. I mean, sometimes it may feel that way, but underneath it all, you're trying to get to be good doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at least, again,
For
we're
your
all,
patients.
we're only thinking in like didactic right now, but like there is definitely that sense of purpose, I feel, that I didn't feel before, of like, okay, yeah, I am getting criticism or constructive criticism, but like I know what my end goal is, and I know that I'm actively working towards that end goal, and so it's a lot easier for me to understand that the criticism is like given with that in mind,
Yeah.
and incorporate that.
something that I've experienced within. So we do case-based learning in the first semester and in the second semester. And in
Case-based learning is when you look at a particular patient's case, or maybe even a fictional patient's case, I guess,
over like a few weeks,
right?
And
Sort of in a longitudinal
digest it.
way, and you learn continuously through exposure to that case and the details of that case.
And as part of that, we go and we kind of provide these little like chalk talks or brief 5-minute sort of summaries about something that we researched in the last week. And then in the end, we're getting feedback from the facilitators for it. So in my first semester, the like written feedback was kind of in line of that stereotypical clinical feedback, like 3 out of 5 meets expectations, continue to read more, like not useful. But the verbal feedback was, because they pointed out a couple of things that were like specifically I had shown like more engagement on a certain like style of presentation. So like that was valuable. Flip that with the second semester, where the verbal feedback was just kind of positive, no concerns, whatever. And then the written feedback, which was like momentarily annoyed by to see like these specifics if you weren't going to talk to me. But then at the same time, I had those for going forward, with the second half of the semester.
You had something written down.
They were written down for me to refer back to, and it wasn't like I had to jot notes during a brief like 5-minute feedback conversation. I had it there of the specifics of what that facilitator was looking for differently in the way that I wrote or put together these short little reports that we have to do. And I was like, good. Something that I can like actually look back at and see, like, did I meet these things? Did I improve on those?
I will say one thing else like that I think they do really well is that before they give you at least like the verbal feedback, and they do this in everything, like they do it in CBL, they do it in PCS, which is like the standardized patients and clinical skills, and they'll say like, you think about what you think you need to improve on. You come back and tell us that first, and then we'll give you feedback on those things, and then we'll point out what we think you should improve on. So it's like you've already had to take the time to self-reflect and think about like, where are the places that I could improve? Like, what has been the feedback that I've been getting for the last 3 weeks that like now I think we can have a comprehensive conversation about? And I've never had that before. I've never had somebody say like, you sit down and think about yourself.
Interesting.
Those definitely tend to guide a lot of those conversations, because we, like, on a certain level, we know where we need feedback. Like, we can sort of pick out where our weaknesses lie, and I think it also sort of softens the blow, because like I come to that conclusion myself first, and then someone else is like, yes, this
You're
is,
like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I know, I need to do that.
During clinicals, I've heard people say, I don't look at my evals. And that's where a lot of the written feedback exists. I don't think that's super common, but I think it just indicates a level of fear associated with getting feedback that might disrupt your sense of self. Or
I mean, even in like pre-clinicals, there have been times where like, or I've gotten like peer feedback where I've kind of put off opening the thing because I just don't want to, like, I know what's waiting for me there. There is also like a certain amount of self-awareness I have where I do know where my flaws are, and I just don't really want to see it like proven in front of me. So I get that. Like, I understand not wanting to open it.
I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like,
like
I
down with
want
it. Yeah.
everybody to tell me where I can improve, what I can do better, and like even
Oh, shall we start a list?
Yes, please, right now. But even like as far as like friendships, like if there are things that I'm not putting forth as a friend, like I want to know. Like tell me all the things, and like because I want to work on that. Like as a person, I want to keep growing. So if it's like clinicals, pre-clinicals, I'm like, tell me to my face. We don't need to write it down. Like verbally, just let me know, and that's fine. Like I can't promise that I will fix it all immediately or like change or like be like, you know, like 100% perfect from then on. But at least like I will have some awareness of it myself.
Well, and not all feedback is I mean, you know, Rachel's example, Maybe the admissions committee was wrong. I mean, I don't think it's her feedback that she's giving. I think it's the
It's
overall
consensus, everything.
admissions
Yeah.
committee
She's just,
feedback. She's just the conduit.
Mhm.
And maybe they were wrong.
I don't know what you're thinking
But-
is going to happen. Like they're not going to be like, "Oh, you're right."
Yeah.
You know what?
you
Let's
know,
get you in
you're
class
right.
right
Yeah,
now,
right
buddy.
now.
Yeah.
Head over. We'll get you a
Immediately-
spot in Newton.
This was a test, and you passed the test. You're
I think
You're now admitted.
especially
Confidence.
in the case with admissions, like all of the feedback that's given is compiled
Mhm.
and it's coming from multiple sources, and all of the sources have like the same goal in mind. So to then turn around and say, I don't agree with that, like that might protect you, but that's not helping you grow or change as a person. Whereas sometimes like there are situations, like you said, where there is a power dynamic, and sometimes feedback can be given sort of just because it can be given without any thought of further growth.
I guess there's an alternate viewpoint of the admissions feedback, which is this isn't the school for you, bud.
Yeah.
You know, the feedback that we're giving, if you don't think it's helpful, then maybe some other school will be like, yeah, we want that guy.
Yeah.
I
Girl-
mean,
girl, I
I
don't
will
know.
say that in a situation like that, she's probably giving them feedback because they didn't get into any other school. Otherwise,
Well, that's why they give this thing
Yeah.
is to
so then other
increase your
schools
chances.
must also not agree. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
then something needs to be changed, and I think that's where it's like you take in the context of where is this coming from? Like, is this coming from a good place where they're like, I want to see you improve, or is this coming from a place where they're like, I just want to put you down?
yeah.
Yeah. And the other, I'm just gonna go quick.
Go
Then
ahead.
you.
Yeah.
The other viewpoint of this is like they may have disagreed with what Rachel was saying, but that's how it came across, and so it's just that can kind of be applied to us too. Like if you're doing something and it comes across not in the way you're expecting it, that is feedback you take, so you
Yeah.
can like make sure it comes across in the way that you want it.
Again, what is the kernel of truth in that feedback that you can take away? If it's not, you know, if your immediate thought is to try to be like, well, that's not what I meant. Well, it's the
You
message
need to
you gave.
change how
So
you-
here, change how you
Intention versus action, right?
Yeah, here's a phrase that I absolutely hate. I have a lot of not really trauma, but just longstanding frustration in past employment with this phrase, but that perception is reality. And that's bullshit. Perception is not reality, but how other people perceive things affect how they are going to act, which is reality. So the way that you are perceived does matter. And if you're getting perceived incorrectly from what you intended, like that maybe that's not all on you,
But you can't
there's-
fix the other people.
You can't. And what you can do is see if there is something to what their perception is.
Yeah.
If there is something that is like coming across wrong. Yeah.
I am so confused. You said, you said, I hate the phrase perception is reality. And then you went on to explain exactly how perception is reality.
Because the way that it's used when it's just given as that first sentence is that it's all on you to fix it, and not that there's an allowance for other people having perceived things legitimately wrong.
But you can only control yourself. You know, like I can't control how Shrishti's perceiving me, but I can control what I do to make her perception of me a thing. Okay. I was like, I don't know if that made
Well
sense.
said. Yeah. Point made. You guys. Yeah.
Say it with your chest.
I've lost track of.
I was like, we went down something.
Yeah, we went down some.
Well,
It was a good thing. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing.
Well, one thing, like, how many of you guys have had like employment-based feedback in the past too? Because like academic feedback's
Yeah.
different, and then when we get to clinical feedback, that's going to be a lot more,
Similar to
I think, similar to employment stuff. So like, what has that been like for you all in the past?
I did have like sit down feedback for one of my clinical positions I had in undergrad, like at the end. So I think that was really helpful because that was also something they made it sound like they thought I was like uninterested because I'm not super energetic like on the job. And that's how I was coming across. And that's honestly really applicable to what I was just saying. Like, I had to like kind of change my attitude because, like, I don't like being super outgoing and like jumpy and peppy, but that's what they wanted. And that's what like they wanted for the patients I was working with, just so I like seemed more interested and just so I brought more of a different vibe. So
They wanted more customer service voice out of you.
yeah, they really did. They wanted me to like jump and cheer when a patient walked in the room because that was kind of an accomplishment itself, getting someone to show up. But
Oh, but that's what medicine is a lot.
yeah,
Like a lot of it is
like it was
like,
cardiac rehab and they were coming to exercise. So
Yeah.
like if they arrived, I'm like, yeah, let's go.
One
Sit
one
down. I'm
thing
gonna get your blood pressure.
one thing that I have experienced is evaluators kind of protecting an institutional average on their numerical ratings, as silly as that sounds. So an attending is not going to give everyone a 5 out of 5 or whatever in a clinical space, because someone's going to come and talk to them about like, are you actually like looking at them? And that should be fine, except we're all in a rat race that requires high evaluations and things like that and stuff. So like meeting expectations shouldn't be a negative thing. But it's a tough pill to swallow when you get the offline comment of, well, I couldn't rank you higher for this reason because of my like numerical average is creeping up too much.
I think that's always a point of contention with any form of feedback, especially in like our current academic system with grades. And when you grade someone, like you put a numerical value on it, it doesn't take into account everything. And I know like in medicine, we talk about that all the time, like pre-med onwards, we are always worried about grades. But that is definitely something like I've had to get more comfortable in medicine is like, because like Sahana said, we would have to evaluate ourselves. And like on that evaluation sheet, I would put like meets expectations. I had a facilitator who said you can only give 2 exceeds expectations. Everything else had to be below that. Like he would not allow us to give ourselves the full score.
You can't be better than
No, yeah.
expectations.
But and like that forced me also to like read the rubric properly and realize like, yeah, I was meeting expectations. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. And that is normal. And that is a good thing. I'm not a bad student for doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, let's look
For
at
other reasons instead.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at, like any sufficiently large population evaluated will generate a bell curve. Right?
Yeah.
And most people are going to be in the middle of
Yeah.
that.
Not bad.
Of
I
that
simply
bell
don't
curve,
agree.
which is- no.
Yeah,
Who's the
Zach always
contrarian?
the top.
Who's the contrarian now?
So it's not really realistic to think that many people will be outside of that middle third or whatever.
But like as pre-med students, you're taught that
You have
you
to be.
have to be beyond that.
Yeah,
middle
but
ground.
now you're in a whole new situation where
Mhm.
everybody was a successful pre-med
Right.
student.
Right.
But then you're still getting like grades or like in your honor. Like I know one school where they, instead of giving you a grade, they'll have a written exam.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter how anybody else does, because on your written exam, they'll, instead of giving you like this was a 10 out of 10 or whatever, they'll just do like 3 tiers. Like didn't meet expectations, or like you understand everything.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, in that case, I'm going to be going into that and being like, oh, I just want to make sure I understand it for understanding it. Like, I don't care. There's no grade attached.
Right.
So like, that's a different type of feedback than giving somebody like, oh, you got an A+ versus this person got like a C.
But the issue is like our entire system is built on those grades.
Yeah.
So like everywhere down the line, those grades matter.
Step 2, baby.
Pass, fail, baby.
Except for
So stick with us for part 2 of our chat about taking negative feedback like a big kid, out soon. But for now, shortcoats, if you have something you want to say about today's show, about anything else you want to hear someday, a question you have, go to theshortcoat.com/tell us, send us a message. Otherwise, that's our show. Until next time, I'm Dave Etler saying don't let the bastards get you down. Say bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.